Hi guys, welcome back to Bee Adventures. We got ourselves another cooking video. Today we're going to be making Japanese curry or pork katsu. Now this is one of my favorites. I've made this for some Filipino friends. They absolutely loved it. So this is my modified recipe I'm going to be sharing with all of you. We got 500 grams of pork mince. Okay, they cost me $5.50 Australian. This is always in local currency, whatever country I'm in. Okay. That's frozen, obviously have to defrost that. We have a great big sweet potato. If you don't want to use sweet potato, you can use 2 normal sized or other potatoes. I love sweet potato just because it's highly nutritious, okay guys? And that's actually why this happened. These Filipino friends hate vegetables. They couldn't believe that vegetables can taste good, so that's why I made them this dish and they absolutely loved it. Okay, so I've got obviously a big fat sweet potato. 2 carrots, obviously again a very big carrot, so that counts as 2. An onion, I'm just using this red onion or this Spanish onion just for fun. The seasoning is garam masala. Okay, that's often used in many different curry dishes. Okay, we have some black pepper. Okay, and just a stock. You can use any stock you want, like chicken stock, whatever. I'm just using this vegetable stock, Vegeta. Okay, but any stock will do, guys. A little bit of soy sauce, you don't need much. Okay, you don't even have to use it. And of course any additional, maybe other salt or other seasoning you might want to add. Now you can get, it's actually called the Japanese curry stock or a Japanese stock that's actually for katsu. And they usually come in cubes. And I find the flavor can be too strong and sometimes it really tastes like there's a lot of preservatives depending what brand. So I like to do this at home cooking, nothing fancy, it's a bit more simple. And obviously, you know, everyone can try it. So okay, let's get these vegetables peeled and we're just going to dice them just to keep it consistent. And also you can use different types of pork or chicken or beef, whatever you want. The traditional way is big thick pieces of pork and you chop it up with the fat. I just find that a bit too fatty, so that's why I like to use mince. And when you serve it later, it spreads out a bit smoother. Okay, let's get started. Oh, and I almost forgot, we need 4 cloves of garlic. As you can see, these are very small. So about 4 cloves. Yeah, that's why I've got a couple of extra. Okay. Okay guys, many of you know how to prepare the vegetables, that's not an issue. But check this out. I was peeling this and it turns out it's a purple yam. Well, it looks like it to me. I thought it was a sweet potato. Usually sweet potato is very orange in color. But it's a purple yam, so what I mean is if you steam it or cook it, usually it turns purple. Sometimes it stays white. There's different types. Purple yams can be very expensive in Australia, but you know, they're common around Southeast Asia. But what I said still sticks. You try to use a sweet potato. They're very highly nutritious, but I don't want to put that in this dish. I don't think it'll go very well. So we're just going to use some traditional potatoes. By the way, guys, this was frozen pork, frozen mince. I defrosted it, that's why it's a little cooked around the edges if it looks a bit funny. And we're just gonna chop it up a little bit more, just so it's gonna spread out easier when we cook it later. Oop. Okay, that's it. See, we got our carrots and our potato. We also have our onions and our garlic. So we're gonna cook the onions and garlic first with oil. We'll also, as soon as possible, throw in the carrots because they're a harder vegetable, they take longer to cook. And same with the potatoes. So hopefully it works out. Okay, for our stock, I'm going to measure up about a tablespoon of black pepper. I like pepper. Now Japanese curry is misleading. It's not like an Indian curry that has chili. It's just a little bit peppery, right? So see, just a tablespoon. We can always adjust it and add more. You know what? I might add a little bit more. Oh, see, that's probably a bit much, but it doesn't matter. I like it with that little bit of punch. A lot of my friends tend to as well. But like I said, it's not like a chili curry. It's not that strong. A generous tablespoon of our garam masala. Okay, remember guys, we're making our own stock. Okay, garam masala. Okay. And that was just plain black pepper. This is a cheap brand, by the way, guys. So it's not as strong as maybe like the cracked pepper. The cracked pepper is much stronger, so you got to be careful with your measurements. That's why I'm measuring it out now, so I don't mess it up later when I'm just pouring it into the dish. And again, a generous teaspoon of our stock, of our vegetable salt. You know, any stock will do. Now, I keep referring to this as a stock you will need about 3.5 cups of water. So you can measure it out. Okay, now back onto the stock. I boiled some water. I found out these mugs measure exactly 1.5 cups of water. Exactly 1.5 cups of water. So I have 1.5 cups measured. I'm going to use 1 cup for cold water. And there's a crucial ingredient I missed, guys. Plain flour. You just need 1 spoon of plain flour. You adjust it as you like to make it a thicker curry. You don't even have to do it, but just to make it a little bit thicker, I like it that way. So we're going to mix that with the cold water, because if we mix it with hot water, it'll cook it and become gluggy and like glue. Okay, so when we add that later, it's going to help thicken up the curry. And then we're going to use this cup, okay, for our dry ingredients. And then we're going to use this to make the stock with hot water. Now that's a little cheat, okay, so I'm just doing this on camera just to demonstrate. Okay, here's our boiling hot water. Nice and steamy, hot and steamy. Okay, so what I mean by a cheat is this is going to help release all those flavors to make this stock. So see, it's all bubbling. Give it a little stir. So that's going to help all that pepper and the garam masala. I can smell it very strong. You know, it's all melting together with the salt. So we can add that at any time. And like I said, this is more for the finishing work. And I'll do that right now with some flour. Okay, because a lot of this liquid will boil off during the cooking process. So we'll get that out of the way. That's our hot stock. But just to demonstrate, see, just a nice generous spoon of flour. Okay, and we'll mix that in. And that will become gluggy, yeah? See, it's going to become a little bit gluggy. But that's okay, like I said, we're using this as a thickening agent. And we'll add that at the very end, okay? And of course, you can always add more flour or don't use flour. I don't like to use corn flour because it'll become too starchy and too gluggy, too gluey. And also the potatoes. The potatoes naturally have starch and will cause it to thicken it up as well. Okay, so you don't even have to add this step, but I just like to. Now I'm going to use an olive oil. You don't have to. Some might just use a plain canola oil or you know, whatever. Just be careful. You might change the flavors if you use you know, a very strong olive oil, but it's okay. Much of a muchness. So here come our onions and our garlic. Okay. We throw them in together because I'm using a hot gas stove. And the garlic will burn otherwise. Okay. So we're just going to brown them up and caramelize them. Okay, let's check on this. Excellent. See how it's starting to turn clear? Yeah? Camera focus. So they're already cooked. I just got to be careful to make sure the garlic doesn't burn. Okay, and in go the rest of the vegetables, the carrots. I'm just going to focus on the carrots first, actually, just so I don't overload the pot. See, it's okay if I put in a few potatoes, but just because the carrots are so hard, just to get some heat and some oil through them, just to get them mixed in. Actually, you know what, let's just do it. Let's just do it. Okay. Now, they can get very sticky, especially from the starch from the vegetables or the juices. So they get sticky, then start adding some water or the stock that we made. Okay. So look at all that colour. Very nice colours, yeah? Beautiful. Yeah. Will shrink down. Okay, so definitely keep an eye on it, especially if you ever cover it. I love to cover it just so it's less messy and doesn't spit everywhere, but if you cover it, always keep an eye on it because it could start burning or sticking. Okay, perfect example of what I was talking about. It's already starting to stick, there's already resistance. That's okay, it's glazing the pan, meaning it's not burning. It's not burning at all, but all those juices and flavors and the starch from the potatoes is sticking to the pan. It's okay, we're gonna deglaze it with the stock, okay, just to demonstrate. Now I'm lucky because I'm using a gas stove, it's very hot, the heat transfer is very fast, and these are very hard vegetables, so we're going to sit here continuing this process. But if you're using an electric stove, or even if you just want to, you're worried it's going to burn or it's getting too sticky, I'm going to show you the trick. Okay, so remember that stock we made? The dark stock? We're just going to pour a little in here, you don't have to pour all of it, and it's already going to start adding flavour to those vegetables. Okay, so you see what I mean? It's deglazing the pan, it's stopping it from sticking, and it's going to lift up all those flavours that are stuck on the bottom. Okay, so even though they're boring vegetables, it starts to add a lot more flavour to them. Now, like I said, very starchy potatoes, the starch will continue to come out of them, so keep an eye on it, stop it from sticking, keep moving it around, keep adding more stock. Okay, so it's okay to even continue adding so much stock during the cooking process, the whole thing, before we even get to the meat, and the meat will just simmer in there. But otherwise you'll end up with really hard vegetables, you know, so this is probably the most important part, just getting the vegetables softened up, and the rest is pretty straightforward. Okay guys, as you can see, I added the rest of the stock to the dish, and there's more liquid in here, and it's all nice and dark, and they're still hard, they're still softening up the vegetables. But yeah, lots of flavors coming out. You can smell it, all those spices. So it turns boring vegetables into something a little bit more tasty. Just move it around. And yeah, we'll just continue this until they soften up. Okay, now the potatoes and carrots have nicely softened up. Can you see how much it's reduced? All that liquid's gone. It's reduced down to like a sauce. Very thick, and all those flavors locked in. I tasted one. I took out a carrot and a potato, and I just, you know, mashed them up, tasted it. They're just getting that little bit more soft. So obviously they'll continue to cook more. Perfect time to add in our meat. Okay, so we're going to throw in our pork. So my point is, I know it seemed like we had a lot of water at the start, but it reduced off, it steamed off, or boiled off, sorry. Okay, excellent. And we're just going to mix this through, but you can see how much colour is. The seasoning is perfect. It was very strong because it reduced, but it wasn't overpowering. And see all that dark sauce now mixing, all the spices mixing in with the meat. The meat's just falling apart nicely. And cooking, it's already cooking very quickly. So you can see it's more like a pork stew. You know, you can use beef, chicken, whatever you want, but obviously we're using minced pork in this case. It's much more like a stew. Very nice pork stew. And while I'm stirring that through, I'll tell a quick story. A friend of mine, he had a Japanese girlfriend, and he wanted to impress her. And he's actually a New Zealander. We call them Kiwis in Australia. Very nice Kiwi friend. So I taught him how to make this recipe. And this is his girlfriend's favourite dish, so he cooked it for her. She absolutely loved it. And it's in big brownie points. So if you want to impress the girlfriend or the wife, learn how to cook this dish. Or maybe you just like Japanese cuisine. Okay, so you get the idea, guys. See how fast that was? So fast. See? And it's got all that. So we're just going to put in that extra liquid. You know what? I might not even use all of it. Yeah. See, that's already filling the pot. You know what, why not? I'll just put it all in. Okay, so as you can see guys, got to be careful. See, it's nearly covered. There's enough liquid now to cover it, so we're going to let that reduce. Just like a stew, we're going to let that simmer on a low heat and let all that liquid boil off. And all those flavours are going to come out, and the flour will cook. The flour will make it thicker and it will cook. Okay? We've got a nice big pot of Japanese curry now. Okay, this is what I was talking about. See this very dark soy sauce? See, very dark. I think I used the wrong one earlier. So I'm just going to put a dash in, just a dash, especially now. See, just for that little bit of extra colour. But especially now that it's just simmering away and reducing. See the colour change? Nice and dark. I'll just give you guys a better look. See? See, nice and dark now. Okay? But we don't want the whole pot to taste like soy, so that's what I mean by steaming off all that liquid and the water. It'll reduce down and be very tasty. And now see, it's got this beautiful dark color. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. When you use the actual Japanese curry stock cubes or the pre-mixed packet, yeah, usually it's very, very dark. Even black, almost black sometimes. Okay, so we'll just keep stirring it so it doesn't stick, but I'll just let that simmer away and we'll come back when it's ready. Okay, now the reducing worked. I turned off the heat, but I'm still letting it just steam off through the extractor fan. But it was already sticking, so that's how we know it was already, everything was cooked, the flour was cooked, but it's getting very, very thick. I don't want to spill it, obviously. Very, very thick. Yeah. Hopefully the camera can adjust. Very nice. Anyway, maybe it's too much for the camera. Let's give it a taste test. It's not overpowering, but you can taste that little bit of pepperiness. Lots of flavour, you know, the saltiness, even the sweetness of the carrots. Delicious. So it doesn't stop here. Let's get some rice ready and we'll plate up. Okay, back at the bench. Now, traditionally, Japanese usually even put half the bowl like this and half the Japanese curry. I've seen that a lot. That's okay, that looks very nice, but we're gonna do this for date night. Because this is my sexy modified Japanese katsu, Japanese curry, or katsu, pork katsu curry. So that's what we're gonna call this. And you know, excuse me, spice things up a little. To the Filipino friends, they would call this a sexy morena. A morena, meaning brunette or dark. Had to say it. I had to say it. So, can you see what I've done? I just took that steamed rice, that hot steamed rice, packed it into a small dish like this. Yeah, this is almost like a dessert or sugar bowl. Okay, and we've got a nice big plate over here. And if you have any problems, you can get a knife. I'll do that right now. Okay, you can get a butter knife, and you can even just to loosen it up a little bit more if there's any problems or it's too sticky. Okay. Anyway, we're gonna a trick. You can put it on the plate like this, and then turn it over so you don't spill it everywhere, and that way it's a bit more accurate. Okay. Give it a tap. There we go. We got a beautiful little rice cake. Yeah. Just to mold it. Okay. Let's go get our curry. Just to do it on camera, the beautiful hot steamy curry. Look at that. That's okay, just let it drip. Ooh, baby, look at that. Ooh, baby, let me get some more. Okay, not that fancy, but I'm sure it'll impress the girlfriend or the wife, should you need. Look at that, sexy morena. Sexy brunette. Look at all that steam coming off. Yeah, beautiful. So there you have it, guys. By the way, it's not that I'm trying to do a spin-off cooking channel. Is that I love cooking. This is obviously a big part of my life. It's important to eat food, so I like to eat fresh and healthy. It can also save you some money. So this is actually a big secret of how I travel so much. That I might live simply in Australia, I do a little home cooking, save some money, I eat healthy, save my money, and then I go travel the world and party around the world, you know. So I hope it inspires some of you to give it a try. Maybe earn some brownie points with the significant other, with one of your loved ones. And delicious Japanese cuisine, our sexy morena. Thanks for watching, guys. Check out the Facebook page and the YouTube main page, and Be Adventures out. Okay. Oh, come on, sige. Sige na.
Thank you for watching Be Adventures.